Тоа беше разговорот со портпаролот на Human Rights Watch за Блискиот Исток, за ситуацијата со хуманитарната катастрофа во Газа која настана по операцијата на израелската армија. Сега во студиото мој гостин е добро познатиот аналитичар и добар познавач на овие прилики, бидејќи е патем роден во Израел. Сем Вакнин.
Thank you for having me.
Добро дојде во мојата неделна анализа. Сем, ти во повеќе наврати во медиумите во Македонија, ни во повеќе странски медиуми истапи со своји ставови во врска со ова. Што следува? Што сега? Ситуацијата делува навистина драматично комплицирано.
Israel made a substantial mistake by announcing its next move. Israel said the next move is a ground invasion. That's always a mistake. It's always a mistake to inform the enemy what you're going to do. It's always a mistake to provoke pressure by the West, by the United States even, not to harm civilians, not to do this, not to do that. The minute you announce your intentions, you're inviting pressures. And this is exactly what happened. Israel announced its intentions, immediately started pressure from the United States, maybe to reconsider, maybe to not invade. What about the civilians? This and that. Immediately, Iran and its proxies, like Hezbollah and so on, Syrian regime, which is closely allied with Hezbollah, immediately they started to threaten Israel. Immediately, there was escalation in the West Bank, and so on and so forth. Now Israel cannot go back.
Пред да продолжиме со ова анализа, го слушате ова сведочење на господинот Бродец, татко на 3 деца и неговата сопруга. 3 деца се земени како заложници на Хамас. Мислам, ужасна ситуација. Која е перспективата за да тие луѓе, во најмала рака, оние децата, 200 заложници имаат земено. Кој е начинот тие да бидат ослободени во оваа ситуација?
Not militarily, definitely. Only via diplomacy and agreement, exchange of prisoners. There is no way to solve this in a military way. Bojan, you must understand, Gaza is 2 cities, not 1. There is a city above, and there is a city under.
Тоа е нешто како Скопје му доаѓа.
No. You mean the size?
Да.
The size is like Newark, New Jersey.
Да.
Small, very small. Gaza, by the way, is 60 kilometers on 2 kilometers. It's a tiny thing. Anyhow, there is Gaza above and Gaza under. Under the ground, there are 2,137 tunnels.
2000 тунели.
Yes. In these tunnels, there are 40,000 fighters. There are 3 hospitals. There are 5 mosques. The hostages, 100%, they are held inside the tunnels. There is no way not only there's no way to liberate the hostages, there's no way to win this war.
Нема опција за специјална некоја операција на специјални единици кои...
You can of course pour fuel into the tunnels and light it up, of course, and kill all the hostages. And kill many civilians.
Катар има контакт со Хамас, ако добро разбрав, они имаат и успеано во некои претходни ситуации во тие преговори со нивна медијација да ослободат заложници. Може ли Катар нешто да стори? И сака ли воопшто?
The current crisis has nothing to do with the previous 3. Israel has invaded Gaza 3 times, including 2021, 2014, 2009, 2006, 4 times. This is not the same. It's not the same situation because the consensus inside Israel now is that Hamas has to be eradicated, eliminated, nothing left, not a single fighter, not a single leader, no governance option, no access to politics, no money, nothing.
Тоа е консенсус.
Yes, that's consensus, left, right, and left and right are almost in a state of civil war about everything else. They're fighting over Netanyahu. They're fighting over the religious Orthodox Jews. They're fighting over money from the budget. There have been demonstrations over many months.
Но тоа е опција која е гарантирана смрт за заложниците.
I think Israel gave up on the hostages.
Можат да издржат 200 цивили нивни да бидат убиени?
This is collateral damage. exactly as Israel accepts that civilians will die in Gaza and civilians will die in Israel. Because Israel has acted provocatively and disproportionately in the north, for example. I think there is a wish in Israel to push for a final resolution. Shall we say final solution of the situation?
Што значи final solution? Знаеме на final solution на Хитлер како заврши на крај.
There is a lot of despair. There is a lot of despair, a lot of rage and irrational thinking in Israel right now. Israel is not thinking about the day after. It is thinking about revenge.
Дали посетата на Бајден нешто во таа смисла, неговото влијанието на Соединетите американски држави, дали мислиш дека тоа успеа да ги смири овие страсти, овој бес за кој ти говориш, ова ирационално однесување на израелската армија сега?
No, I don't think, but I think Biden was able to accomplish two things. First of all, he convinced the Israeli government to reconsider a ground invasion of Gaza. And that is why Israel did not invade yet. The second reason, he convinced Israel that humanitarian corridors are necessary for the population of Gaza, especially if they move to the south. All of them move from the north to the south. They have somehow to be maintained, to be fed, And so Israel now has agreed to collaborate with Egypt on humanitarian aid. But that is the extent of Biden's influence. That is the extent. Biden can provide ammunition, but it's not strictly needed, and the ammunition and weapons that the United States...
побара 100 милиарди за Украина и за Израел помош.
Yes, Ukraine, Taiwan, Israel. Israel is only 14 billion, 1.4. But the ammunition that the United States is providing is not relevant mostly to this war. They're providing defensive ammunition, they're providing precision ammunition. So it's not critical for this war. Israel doesn't really need the ammunition. Israel needs the signal from the United States, we are behind you, we'll support you. And if Iran attacks you frontally or via proxies, we, with our carriers and so on, we are going to counterattack. So it's a signal of we are behind you, we have your back.
Но немојте да влегувате со копнена операција.
I think logically and rationally, as a good friend, the United States is telling Israel, do not enter Gaza. You cannot win. If Israel enters Gaza, it cannot win in Gaza. And if Israel is attacked simultaneously by Hezbollah, Israel cannot win the war. It's the first time that Israel will be defeated militarily.
Што ќе рече, ако влезат со копнена операција, Либан се активира, односно Хезболах од Либан се активира во целата приказка.
I don't think Israel can win this war. The Israeli army is in very bad situation, very bad state. It reminds me, the whole situation reminds me very much of Ukraine. Putin concentrated forces along the border of Ukraine, but Putin acted wisely. To the very last second, he denied that he's going to invade.
Да, правеше маневри, вежби.
And Zelensky believed him. The Ukrainian government believed him that he's not going to invade. Consequently, they were not prepared. But similarly, the Russian army was a paper tiger, we now see. Paper tiger. Israeli army is a paper tiger. It's in extremely bad shape. Well over half the equipment is rotten. There has been budget cuts. Most of the reserves are not trained at all. There are shortages in everything, from food to boots to weapons. It's nice, the propaganda, it's nice, the deterrence, we will win, we are the strongest, we are superior. But if you are rational, you know the limitations of your power. Israel can never win a war in Gaza and with Hezbollah.
Кои се твоите предвидувања на кратки со оглед на се ова што кажавме? На кратка стаза, што ќе се случува сега? Изгледа прилично.
Netanyahu and his cadre must provide something. They must throw a bone to the dog of rage and revenge. So they will invade Gaza. It will be a very limited invasion, limited land invasion. They will kill Hamas leaders, they will kill fighters, and then they will withdraw. I think the entry and the withdrawal will be much faster than we believe. I don't think it's going to last months. I don't even believe it's going to last weeks. I think they're going to enter, declare victory, and withdraw. The big enigma is when they enter Gaza, when the first tank crosses Gaza, will Hezbollah attack? That's the big question mark.
Добро,
Hezbollah
Хезболах е
attacks-
толку спремен војно?
Sorry?
Толку е спремен, подготвен
Hezbollah?
војно? Да.
Hezbollah is equal to the Israeli army. Hezbollah has a division called Radwan division. These are 8 to 10,000 commandos, exactly the same number like Israel. Israel has 10,000 commandos, and the commandos of Hezbollah are as trained, as qualitative as the commandos of Israel.
Кој влијае на Хезболах во овој момент? Кој има ли некој меѓународен фактор кој ги држи под
Only
контрола?
Iran. Only Iran. I think Iran is holding them back, actually. I think it's exactly opposite what people believe that Iran is pushing Hezbollah to attack. I think Iran is the only one that is holding them back.
Кој помага на Хамас? Вооружани се толку многу што Израел не може да ги совлада ако влезе во копнена
It's not necessarily how many weapons they have. It's the high infrastructure that they created. The tunnels, the warehouses, the rocket manufacturing facilities, rocket factories. Everything is underground, everything is integrated. There are very short distances for resupply. They are prepared. They are prepared. This is the worst kind of war. It's known as urban warfare. It's the worst type of war. In Fallujah, much fewer people defeated the American army.
Како ќе се, мислам, се е важно исто
By the
како
way, Hamas has 40,000 fighters. 40,000. Hezbollah has 110,000. Not small numbers.
Како ќе се постават, големо влијание ќе имаат меѓу големите меѓународни фактори, Соединените американски држави, НАТО, Кина, Русија се разбира. Со оглед на глобалната ситуација, безбедноста, многу лоша. Какви ќе бидат нивните потези, како тие ќе влијаат, бидејќи претпоставувам дека на Путин оваа војна многу му одговара.
Yeah, of course. And China.
И Кина исто така.
China as well. This is China's opportunity to escalate the situation in Taiwan. It's precisely why Biden is asking for $10 billion for Taiwan. These are fault lines. We are in a period of decline of the West and ascendance of the East. It's a change in power matrix, change in power relations. And so the West is defending itself. And along the fault lines, the meeting places between East and West, we will see wars. Kosovo, Israel, Taiwan, Ukraine. They are places where the East meets the West. And there, we're going to have war. Possibly even Poland and Hungary. I'm not taking this out of account.
На кој начин Полска и Унгарија?
Poland and Hungary, definitely Hungary, belong actually to the East, not to the West. They're accidentally in the European Union, mentally, economically, and many other ways. Hungary is East Bloc country, not West Bloc. So I don't know how this is going to translate, but I think there you will soon see a lot of tension and friction.
Во Унгарија.
Hungary, and I think also Poland. So Russia and China are creating an alternative to the United States. They joined together in BRICS, and Iran is now a member of BRICS. So this is the alternative to the United States, and they're fighting back, absolutely, over territory, over economic resources, over technologies, over everything. This is a battle, life
Како
and
ќе се одрази ова на руско-украинската војна? Дали Западот ќе мора да се откаже од онаа поддршка на Зеленски и да бара начин за преговори со Путин сега?
Soon, I think there will be enormous pressure on Zelensky to make peace with Putin, including territorial concessions. The United States cannot support two simultaneous wars. First of all, technically, the United States doesn't have a budget because of the situation with the Republican Party in the House. The United States doesn't have a budget. The budget of the United States expires in 30 days, and then there's no budget. When there's no budget, it is forbidden by law in the United States to give military aid or foreign aid to anyone. The second thing is the entire budget of the Pentagon is $775 billion. And now Biden is asking for $100 billion to Ukraine. This is a
Never-ending story.
huge slice of the defense spending. And the $100 billion is just the latest. There have been previous packages.
Путин се виде со кинескиот председател и како реакција на тоа НАТО одржа итен состанок како одговор на таа средба. Што е толку драматично што НАТО го свика Советот за да разговара за оваа средба на руско-кинескиот врв?
First of all, a client of China, North Korea, it's a client of China. A client of China is now supplying military aid to Russia. Not small military aid, there have been 1,100 containers which left
Северна Корея.
Yeah. So clearly China entered as a commitment on the side of Russia in the war with Ukraine. They're doing it through North Korea, so what? It's the first time that China openly supports the Russian side in this conflict. On the other hand, Ukraine failed in its offensive. The Russians are now succeeding in their offensive. And a lot of the money that was supposed to be allocated to Ukraine is now forwarded to Israel. I'll give you one example. Ammunition that was destined for Ukraine was now rerouted and sent to Israel. That's a fact, yesterday. So sooner or later, the military aid to Ukraine will dry up. We hear voices in Slovakia, we hear voices in Hungary and Poland. Sooner or later, this chapter will be finished. If the line in Ukraine is broken, the rest of Europe is fair game to Putin. Rest of Europe, Baltic states, Poland, they are fair game. It will be clear then that the West is not a reliable long-term ally. This is doubly true if there is a massive Israeli failure, massive Israeli defeat within Israel. Now look at Israel. Israel relocated all the citizens from the south to the center, up to 5 kilometers. And now it relocated all the citizens from the north to the center. The north of Israel is empty of citizens. The south of Israel is empty of citizens. Israel became an enclave, a ghetto, absolute ghetto. There's military, citizens, and military. That's Israel now. And if the military breaks, if there's a defeat in the north or defeat in the south or both, citizens are there and they are totally trapped. And if the United States then does not intervene, then the world is fair game to China and to Russia. This is of course, allow me one more sentence, this is of course very reminiscent of Vietnam, very reminiscent. Vietnam started exactly the same way. In the beginning, the United States sent military advisors and some ammunition. Then they sent weapons. Then they sent a few soldiers. Then they sent a lot of soldiers. This is how Vietnam started. Israel is the United States' new Vietnam, because Israel is on the front line with Iran. Iran is together with Russia. Russia is together with China.
Последно прашање, што е со Балканот во оваа ситуација која е перманентно фрагилен?
The Balkan has the two factors in play, which are in the Middle East. The Balkan has a Muslim population, some of which is radicalized. Not all, of course, but some of it is radicalized in multiple locations. Kosovo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and so on and so forth. And the Balkans has Russian influence, competing with American influence. So the Balkans is exactly a clone of the Middle East, a clone. And if there will be a massive American failure in the Middle East, there will be a replay of the Middle East in the Balkans.
Сем Вакнин,
Optimistic, as usual.
да. Ти благодарам што бе се гостин во оваа неделна анализа. Почитувани гледачи, ја гледавте неделната анализа. Ви благодарам за вниманието и до гледање.